Hi, welcome back to my channel. I came back from Japan about a week now. Still have jet lag, but feel much better today, so I thought I would do some ink swatching. These two are fountain pen inks that I bought when I was in Japan, and then these two I bought them in Taiwan. I didn't buy a lot of fountain pen inks because I was worried that the bottle would break or the ink would leak, so these are the four inks that I purchased when I was on my trip. Let's start swatching them today. First, let's swatch this ink from Taiwan. I believe this was limited to the stationery store. I forgot the name right now, but I'll try to look it up, see if I can find it. This is the name of the ink if you want to look it up online. It looks blue and maybe gray. As it dries, it seems to turn into a gray ink, but when I first put down the ink on paper, it looks kind of blue and slightly purple. But it does seem to turn into this kind of a gray green. Very interesting. So I'm swatching the ink using a Kakimori dip pen, and the nib holder I used the one from Kawiko. This is a Muji notebook, really affordable if you want to start your own ink swatching journal. Really love the color so far. Wow, it's interesting how the ink changes as it dries. It's fascinating. Love it so far. And I also want to swatch some on this swatch card. You can see that the ink here looks slightly blue. And compared to this one already dry and turned into kind of a gray-green tone. Add more inks on the paper. In case I forgot, I better write down this one is from Taiwan. Now I'm going to write some text with my glass dip pen. It's so good to get back here and get back to swatching my favorite fountain pen inks. Not sure if you have tried to swatch inks. It's really meditative. This is the next ink I want to swatch. It's from KWZ ink. The name of this ink is Black Coffee. Since I love coffee, I probably would buy any fountain pen inks that name after coffee. So let's take a look. I think KWZ ink, they are available in US. You probably can find it online. Let's see if it really looks like black coffee. It's pretty dark so far, almost black, I would say. Wow, it's really deep black color. Must be a cup of really strong coffee. Let's write down the name. I think the ink is really wet. You can see the writing is thicker compared to the previous ink I tried. I'm hoping when it dries, it would turn slightly more brown. Otherwise, it's just kind of a black ink, isn't it? You see this effect here because my hand probably have some grease, so the ink wouldn't able to cover the area. But it kind of give you an idea what this color may looks like. I will try not to put too much ink on this swatch card since it's so dark. I'm hoping that I'm able to see some shading from this ink, but so far it looks really dark. I'm going to try to add some water, put the color out a little bit. Here you do see the brown undertone. As the ink dry, you do see slightly brown tone here. Maybe we will see more brown shading when it's in writing. I find it quite challenging to talk and write at the same time. I don't know how other YouTubers do it, but let's finish the writing before I talk. Here you do see is more like really muted dark brown here. And if you have more ink, it will look kind of dark, almost black. It's quite interesting. I do like it. The next thing I want to swatch is from Sailor. I believe I bought this when I was in Kyoto. The name of this ink is Cantarelli. I'm not sure how to pronounce this ink, but I believe this one is the special edition limited to this stationery store, Angers. I'm not sure it's pronounced as Angers. Interesting. They say it's blended by Osamu Ishimaru. Let's take a look. Really nice packaging. Another brown ink. The bottle is really pretty. Not sure if you can see, it's kind of like this brown golden tone. Really pretty. Let's put the ink on paper. It's a lighter golden brown color. I think this would be great for drawing too. Sailor. Really pretty. Wow. As it dry, I think it turned more kind of on the orange side of the color. Now let's try it on this swatch card. You can see it's more on the yellow tone when I first put the ink on paper. And then as it dry, it turned more orange brown, warmer. Let's put more here. It's always interesting to see how the ink dry. Let's see how the ink look if it's watered down. It even has slight green undertone when it watered down. But as it dry, it definitely turned more orange brown. Now let's try to write something with this ink. I definitely bought too much stuff when I was in Japan. I'm glad I was able to bring them all home. It's quite nice. If you have a bowl pen nib, you were able to see the color better. Interesting. As it dry, I think it turned into more kind of a real brown rather than yellowish tone. It's fascinating. Lastly, let's swatch this Kakimori pigment ink that's, I believe, only available at the Starbucks Reserve store. Wow, interesting bottle. Color looks really dark. Oh, nice. I really like this brown tone. Not sure if you can see from the camera. I think last year I bought a lot of green inks, and recently I kind of really into brown inks. So you may see more brown inks on my channel. Wow, this is really nice. I thought the black coffee that I previously swatched would look more like this one, but this one is exactly what I love. And the name is Roasted Coffee Brown. Definitely an appropriate name for this ink. Since this is a pigment ink, I'm not sure I can use it with fountain pen. I'll have to look it up and check before I use it in my pen. Now, swatch it on this swatch card. By the way, this swatch card is by Wearinguel. I think that's how they pronounce their name, right? I believe it is a Korean company. Kakimori. Let's add some water and see if the color change when you add some water to it. It's quite nice. Let's do some writing with my glass pen. And this is how it looks. After it's dry, I would say it's definitely looks more like a green ink with a brown shading. Very interesting. I'm glad I bought this one. And this is how it looks on the swatch card. Slightly lighter, but similar color. And this one still drying. I probably put too much ink on paper. But here you can definitely see brown tones here. It's definitely a very, very dark color ink. Almost black. And this is on the swatch card. You can see when I water it down, the color is actually quite nice. And this one is the Sailor ink that I bought when I was in Kyoto. Still drying. I would say this now look like a honey brown ink. But when I first put it down on paper, it definitely looked more yellow if you go back to watch. And on the swatch card, it's really beautiful with beautiful shading. You can get some beautiful shadings with this ink. And then lastly is this Kakimori pigment ink, still drying. Really muted dark brown. I can see why they name it as roasted coffee brown. It definitely has that dark brown coffee tone to it. And this is the swatch card. Similar color, not too different. And here at the bottom part, I added some water so that you can see more of its base color. Well, that's all. Only 4 inks I bought when I was in Japan and Taiwan. I wish I have more space in my luggage. I definitely bought a lot of Traveler's Company notebooks when I was there. I probably will make another video to show that if you're interested. Thanks for joining me today for this swatching section, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye!